Oh my God.
Hey, good morning everyone, it's Nate from Ranch Foods Direct. Today we're going to be cooking up this beautiful prime rib that Billy, our head butcher, just brought to us. We're also using a nice prime rib rub seasoning blend from Gather Food Studios and just a few ingredients to make a wet paste rub that we're going to put on the prime rib. Before we get started with the rib itself, we're going to start with the rub and have that ready to go, so as soon as we're done with the roast we can just start slathering it up. So to start, I've got 3 tablespoons of the Gather Food Studios prime rib rub. To that, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of some prepared horseradish. I've got some garlic and parsley that I'm going to chop up real quick. Smash it. Now we're going to add, I got 6 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to add that. And we're going to mix it all together. Now we're going to start with this beautiful rib roast. Just excellent marbling that Billy gave us. And what we're going to do now is we're going to separate the bones right here from the roast itself. Typically, so there's 2 ways you can do it. You can completely remove the bones, or you can leave them hanging on just a little bit at the end, which is what I'm going to do today. Good tool to have for this one is a semi-flexible boning knife. But if you don't have a semi-flexible, a stiff, rigid knife will work just as well. So we're going to cut in following the bone line right here. So the bones are running in this direction right here. We're going to cut along, scraping as close to the bone as possible. Make sure to keep your fingers out of the way so you don't cut yourself. And we're kind of pulling it apart here as we're getting in. Just a little bit at a time. Hugging those bones. You want a nice sharp knife for this as well. A dull knife is going to make your task a lot harder. All right, as you can see, I've left it hanging on by just a little bit. The reason I do this is because when we tie this up and put it in the oven, this is going to be a more stable roast than if I had removed the ribs completely and then retied it back on. There'd be a little bit of instability there. All right, now we're going to slather on this beautiful paste. We're going to start on the inside here. Just take a little bit of that wet rub, drop it in there. And we're going to play with our food. Doesn't matter what Mom told you. It's good to play with your food every once in a while. more of that there. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper as well. You can add salt and pepper to the wet paste, the wet rub, if you want to. I like to do it separately just so that I can kind of gauge how much is going on in each place. We're going to tie this sucker up because we don't want this loose while it's cooking. We want to make sure it's a nice, tight, cohesive piece. So we're going to get a couple pieces of twine here. Pretty long. We want to make sure that it'll go all the way around. We're going to come underneath here, kind of center it. What we're looking to do is to split the difference between these two ribs right there. All right, there we go. Nice, tight, cohesive package. There, you could also, if you wanted to, tie it around this way, but really just a couple of strands or a strand in between each pair of bones is about what you need for one of these things here. So I want to make sure that my roast is getting cooked to the exact temperature that I want. So I'm going to put a thermometer probe inside of it here. I'm going to go, so I got this bone right here, it's kind of curving right here. I'm going to shoot for this zone. There's a little bit of a fat zone right through here, so I need to make sure that I'm coming all the way into where this meat is. So I'm gonna avoid that fat zone as much as possible. Come right into the center. That'll give me a reading, basically, all the way deep inside of here. That's what we're looking for. Put it on a sheet pan with a rack. And that's it. About ready to go to the oven. I'm gonna head into the oven. The oven's blasting away at 500 degrees. We're going to put a sear on the outside of this first, and then we'll turn it down to 300 to cook it all the way through. Our roast has been in the oven for about 30 minutes at 500 degrees. Got a nice looking sear going on. Turn the temperature on the oven down to about 300 degrees to finish her up. We're at about 120 degrees. We're going to pull it now so that we coast into a nice medium rare at about 130 to 135 degrees. You can see we got some really nice color on that bad boy. Looks delicious and the smells are amazing. All right, I'm going to transfer this to some tin foil to let it coast slowly, but kind of hold on to some of the heat as we're going. That boy is looking good. To fall right off. Just a little bit of cutting to help it out. There we go. And those are the cooks. Nobody else gets those. Another good knife for this is a nice slicer knife. If you don't have a slicer, just whatever the longest blade is that you have. Beautiful.